Hey, what's happening, Roland? Well, today's Friday, and today's the time for my update for the week, and I'm going to tell you all what happened last week. And I had a lot of good fishing. I made a few turkey calls. I went airboating. I did all kind of things. But to start with, Friday afternoon, after I did my little YouTube What's Happening, Roland, Friday afternoon, I went back over to Headwaters with Michael Bono, the guy that, in fact, this guy here, he won the Reeltime US fishing tournament. Let's see if I can pull it up on the computer right there. And I started using this big whopper plopper. Okay, now this is so cool. The wind was blowing real hard. It doesn't show the wind hard here, but the wind was really howling. Now, when it's really, I like topwater, and the water is nice and warm, and the fish are starting to spawn. The problem is the whopper plopper, and it's a good lure for the wind because it, even when there's a lot of ripple there's a lot of ripple here, that whopper plopper, look at that, big 7-8 pound bass. Okay, that was a whopper plopper fish, big old whopper plopper fish, and we caught a couple more on whopper ploppers. But the wind was blowing up to about 30 miles an hour, and it kind of negated my. I like the devil horse, of course, and I like some other topwaters, but the wind was blowing so hard I couldn't fish them. So we had kind of an interesting day. The next day it got real cold, and the wind blew even harder. So Michael and I didn't catch any real big fish. So 2 days later, I went to another deal. Let me back it up, and I'll show you what happened on that deal. Water warmed up some, and I went out with these guys. And right here, he caught the first thing in the morning. My buddy, if I get it up, he catches a 5, and that was a different deal. And what he was throwing was this thing here. It was kind of a topwater deal, and he was taking this big 7/0 Gamakatsu hook and a big swim bait that happens to be a Big Easy that he had, and he was throwing it and actually coming on the top with it, actually fishing it as a surface plug. But the water's not as rough and windy as it was. 2 days before, it was just really windy, and now it had calmed off a lot. It was a little cool. You see, we have jackets on. Water temperatures in the low 70s, and that worked out good. Now his buddy, let me show you his buddy's fish. He caught a big old, almost 8 pound bass right here. He's a tattoo artist from Central Florida. He catches a big old, it's almost 8 pounds, and it's a great big fish. It's one of his biggest ever, almost his personal best, close to it. And he is an old kayaker. He's been out there on the headwaters for the last couple of years doing a kayak thing, and he's a pretty good fisherman. And he was running that another swim bait, actually a little different than that one, on top. And that big old bass hit it on the surface as it came across. And you notice it's a lot calmer that day. You look at the water in the background, it's not near as bad as the day that we fished with Michael. Okay, then a day or so later, well, I caught another big fish. I caught one right here. I don't know where it is. I caught a great big one. And that was a big one. Again, it's not so windy and calm. It's that same day, and it's a 7 pound bass, but it's a nice big one on a swim bait. Okay, now let's go the next day. Okay, the next day, what happens was I started fishing with a good buddy of mine. Now we had that day with the tattoo guy, we had 5 bass or 6 bass over 5 pounds. So it was a medium day with the biggest one about 7. Okay, now the next day I fished with this guy Dennis Anderson. It's just a couple days ago, and right away, bam! I catch a really good one, and and look how calm the water is. Or just to show you this, look at the water's real calm now. And it's way warmer, and I can now take. And this is the whole key to good topwater fishing. You need calm water like that. See, when the water's calm and only blowing 2 or 3 miles an hour, that's when I can take my devil's horse. And this is my favorite devil's horse. This is the Okeechobee. This is South Florida. This is anywhere in the country. I've caught them all over I've caught them at Lake Champlain up in New York on this thing. But what I'm doing, I need calm water. Now, it was a little bit bright, but early in the morning, it was a pretty good bite. But surprisingly, even with the sun out, this is not normally something I recommend, even with the sun out, they really hit this good. And they started rolling at it. Evidently, they were spawning good because I had 5 or 6 bass, big ones like that, roll up at the lure and not get it. So what I did, I had a backup. And at one point, I took my backup and one rolled up, and I don't have a picture of that fish particularly, and I took my old Senko. Now, have a Senko ready, and here's the whole key. That's a 5-inch Senko, a 4-aught EWG hook, a little bitty weight. That's a little 1/8 ounce weight. Have it ready, and I had this is a 17-pound test line. I had the rod ready to go at the front of the boat. As soon as that other big fish, and I don't have a picture of it, it rolled up at the devil's horse and made a big boil. I just picked up my worm, did a little short cast just past the spot, just let it sink down, just kind of twitch it along, bang, big old 6 or 7 pound bass. So that was, you need the backup, and you need the backup right away. In other words, when you get that swirl or get that miss, and he didn't really get it, all he did was swirl at it, and I knew it was a big fish, so I had the worm right there ready to go. Okay, then I started working that devil's horse real slow and easy. Caught some other big fish, but look at the big one for the day. The big one of the day is really a big fish, and it's a topwater devil horse fish. And here we have Dennis holding it right here, and you talking about a big one. 9 pounds on the devil horse, son. And that's old Dennis Anderson from Lexington, Kentucky, a big developer. He actually has a lot of rental properties up there, and he's down here in Naples. And see, I do a little guide work. In fact, I had 3 or 4 days of guiding, and that's a lot of fun, and I just enjoy it. And I fish as well as my clients as well, and we all catch fish, but I try to give them the best spot. Like I told everybody, okay, you throw over there, I just hit a swirl, I had a strike. So I sometimes do catch the big fish, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I try to have my clients catch them, but I catch them too. Okay. So that's what happened there. Now there was another day or so that I had 1 day free. So let's walk over here to my shop, and I've perfected something on my turkey calls. I just want to tell you real quick about that because I got a new process now. And what I do is I soak these turkey calls in this special it's a special varnish kind of solution, and I soak it in there for hours, and then when I have it, this one's not ready yet, it's a good call. Then I'll actually polish it up a little bit with the sandpaper, just a tad, make it really, really smooth with a little sanding, and now I have a nice kind of a dull finish, and it's just so smooth and nice and waterproof. That's a big thing. But I found another kind of wood. I told you about Hurricane Irma knocking my trees down. I lost in the hurricane 5 years ago. I lost 26 trees and 2 buildings, and I lost 2 sets of underwear. That's a little joke. But anyway, we rode the storm out, my wife and I. One of the trees that fell down was an acacia, and I have plenty of acacia wood, and it's a hardwood from Australia. And look at the lids on this acacia. I will show you some acacia lids. Okay, see how light that wood is? It is a real and exquisite hard wood. It's really a beautiful wood. Now here's the regular walnut. The regular walnut lids are one thing, and of course I autograph all these things, and really good. And the walnuts sound really good. Here's a walnut. This is a walnut. And then see, I'll show you an acacia. That's walnut. This is cherry. That's a difference there. That's cherry. That's pretty good, but I'm the acacia wood I love. I just love this acacia. Anyway, here's acacia right here. Well, listen to this. Boy, that's beautiful. Anyway, it's a hardwood, and I autograph it, and I got that all figured out now. So I have the finish as a waterproof finish. I have a new wood that's exquisite, and it sounds really good, that acacia wood. Anyway, I'm making big strides and things up with my turkey call making. And I have my meal all set up. Okay, let's go outside for a second. Got one more little thing to show you, and that is out here I have an airboat. And I have my airboat, and I can walk through here to get to my airboat. I went out to the Everglades yesterday with my family guys, Rich, my stepson, and all sorts of different people. Jake Munyon from from Illinois, old farmer. Anyway, oh God, dang, I about fell over. Here's my airboat. Now here's the problem with the airboat. It starts up good. I got a big GPS on it. It starts up. Listen to it. Listen. Runs great. The airboat runs great. So we launched the airboat. We went way down the Everglades. Launched the airboat. The only problem was the fuel pump went out. It is still pumping some fuel, so it'll idle good. But when I go fast with it, it starves itself for gas, and so we couldn't go anywhere. So we had to come back. We fished a couple hours down there around where we launched, and then we came back, and I got to get the thing fixed. Anyway, I got this really neat airboat. It's not working just right now, but the fish are spawning down there in the Everglades. So that's what's happening in my world. Turkey season's coming up. And next week, the youth season starts. I might take my little granddaughter, Amelia, and I'll take her down in maybe my little tracker off-road, because I hunt a lot in the Everglades with that. And I go out to the orange groves and places like that, so that's where I might take her. But anyway, turkey season's coming up. The bass are spawning. I'm catching fish. I'm having a ball. Hey, that's what's happening in my week, folks. So, hey, thanks for subscribing, and hit that likes button. We'll see you again soon.